On weekdays, Grandma washed clothes in a wringer washer, and Sandra would hand her wooden clothespins when it was time to hang them on the line. Every morning she braided Sandra's hair, insisting the little girl look neat and presentable, then made everyone a hot breakfast of cinnamon sugar toast and oatmeal. The boys helped with small chores, and all of them spent as much time as they could outdoors. Her grandpa would often lift Sandra onto his lap whenever there was work to be done using the faded green John Deere tractor. He was grateful for the company after so much solitary farm work, and Grandma was grateful for the break from chasing a preschooler. Grandpa would fire up the old beast of a tractor until it chugged to life and lurched them forward with puffs of black smoke billowing from the vertical exhaust pipe. She would wait on the metal seat while he filled the tractor next to a big gas tank in the yard. "There won't be a single cow escaping once we're done checking this fence," he said as they bounced along, stopping occasionally to fix a wooden post or a stretch of rusty barbed wire. Sandra, who jumped from bed every morning and ran to the window to get a glimpse of the farm animals she considered her pets, worried that one of the placid cows might end up lost or hurt. Her grandparents marveled at her awareness of animals at such a young age. "When I'm big, I'll bring all the hurt animals here. I'll put them in the barn. I'll make them all better." Grandpa nodded. Sandra was brought up attending a Christian church, but with her native bloodlines, she was also raised to respect the circle of life and the great power that keeps the entire universe in balance. The call to do good and believe in good things was a constant presence in her family. At the table, they always sat with folded hands before the meal was served. "Dear God, we pray for those who are homeless and for the well-being of those who are sick or weak. We ask for the wisdom to care for these animals in our charge and for the protection of us all. And for all the animals everywhere," she thought, knowing that someday she would bring all the hurt animals she could find to this place of peace and beauty. Grandpa didn't have any hobbies or spend any time relaxing except for late in the evening. He collapsed in his favorite chair each night, and Sandra would climb up on his lap. She wasn't aware of the aged changes occurring in his body since he performed the difficult farm work without complaint. "Sandra, did you save any animals today?" He was truly interested, and not just indulging her childhood obsession. She nodded seriously. "3 worms and 1 grasshopper. They were lost in the grass, so I put them in the garden by a big flower." "You're a kind girl. God did good with you." He was right. Even when she wasn't completely good, she was never too naughty. She'd never even been spanked. She occasionally took advantage of being not only the youngest, but the only girl as well, especially on bath night. Grandma would fill a big galvanized tub with hot water from the stove. The tub was in the kitchen, the warmest spot, and Sandra got the first bath. She would take her time sudsing and playing until Grandma would finally pick her up out of the tub in exasperation. Each brother to follow was left with colder and dirtier water than the one before. Then, snug in her pajamas, Sandra would take off in search of Grandpa, who would, of course, be in his chair, and crawl onto his lap. The happy, hard-working life continued without a problem, except that the children rarely got to see Lolo. They were up at dawn, had become proficient in their little chores, had plenty to eat, and plenty of love to go around, which allowed them to focus on what they did have rather than what they didn't have, which was also plenty. Before Sandra turned 4, she and her brothers were able to rejoin Lolo in a nearby town, and a few months later, Grandma sent word that Grandpa had died in his sleep, sitting up in his favorite chair. The 4 children spent hours together entertaining themselves, since Lolo had earned a 2-year nursing degree and worked long hours before returning home to an evening of keeping up a household. She didn't earn nearly as much as a registered nurse, and with 4 kids and loans to pay, the family qualified for some government assistance. Each month, Lolo would pile the kids into the car, and they'd go together to pick up a